Welcome back, everybody, to our weekly podcast. No Mike this week, but I am joined by Fan Guy, Days, and Aspen. I'm going to go ahead and start with Aspen and get who went up for you this week and who went down for you.
Ooh, okay. All right. So first off, I am going to just say Q and Patty both went up for me. They just did some boss shit, man. Like I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. Q and Patty went up. Who went down for me? Probably Meg. Probably Meg. She just is not in a good place right now. I don't like how she is handling not being in that good place. So Meg and Jake. Yeah. Since I'm gonna give two up, I'm gonna give two down. Meg and Jake went down.
Days, who went up for you this week, who went down, and why?
I'll start with who I think went down, and that's a combination of both Q and Meg. I think if I think at this point everybody else in the game has to look at that kind of dynamic between the two and just stoke the flames, and both of them, because of their war against each other, are going to be out within the next couple episodes. Um, Player I think went up is Elizabeth. I think she has silently scooted her way to the back of the room where nobody's looking at her. She did survive this vote. It looked like it should have went towards her, but somehow she survived, and I think that was because of all the commotion that went down. I think if she stays in the back for now and lets this war play out, she's in a good position now. So
Fan Guy, who went up and down for you, and why?
I mean, I always try to say something different, but I can't. The people who went down for me are exactly who Dave said. It's the two spearheads on both sides that are, in my opinion, going to be targeted by both sides now, which is Q and Meg. I still think Meg's in an okay spot because she still seems to have quite a few numbers behind her temporarily, but we'll see how long that holds. And then who went up? I'm going to say Dot because he's still on the majority side of the voting, and he's got a couple of powers in his back pocket. So I think with all the attention being on Meg and Jake now, I think it helps Dot fade a little bit more out of target zone.
What?
Aspen, you disagree?
That is ridiculous. Where the fuck is Mike when I need him to be on my side for once? Like, dang, that is crazy. What? How do you think she's still in a good spot? After all of that, you think she really in a good spot, bro?
I
Really?
said she went down. I mean, I said Meg went down along with Q. I put her as my down.
Sinking. That ship is sinking.
We're going to get right into it this week. We're going to start with a challenge and the trivia. If anybody has anything they noticed during trivia, Days got one prediction right. He gets one out of every 20 predictions right. Patty did win the challenge.
did I predict that? Don't take my predictions seriously. I'm just throwing shit out there just to try to be funny, but he is a jack of all trades. I mean, dude knows everything.
Were you surprised by Patty?
A great challenge, and the questions were hard.
They were
These
so
questions
hard.
hit hard.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised by Patty at all. I am actually less surprised. Days was right for once. I can't believe that part. But yeah, I wasn't surprised by Patty. He do seem like the type that know it all. Even I don't know. He just got all these stories, and even if they made up or not, I mean, he knows some shit. So like, I don't know. Respect, man. Hats off that he fucking held his own weight with Q, the fucking chemist who is literally in school for chemistry. So yeah, shouts out to Patty, man. He came through. I don't know if it's the stoner knowledge. I don't know if it's the drink. It's probably the mimosa. I don't know. But
He was on fire in the second round, that's for sure.
yeah, he went
I
back.
definitely want to read his autobiography before he dies. Like, I want to know what his
Agreed.
life was like.
Anything else stand out to you during the challenge, Fan Guy?
No, I mean, Patty did well, man, and he didn't look like he was you could, like, if you look at people throughout the challenge, you can kind of tell who's guessing versus who knows, like, who actually has a pretty good idea or at least has an educated guess. And Patty's were all like, he either knew them or they were educated. Didn't look, you could just tell he wasn't throwing them out of his butt. So yeah, Patty with the worldly knowledge. Q was smart to pick the science questions because they were a lot about the periodic table, which I'm sure she fucks with a lot. So, you know, I think that was educated category choices. I was surprised more people maybe didn't go for more points early because it just seems like.
Well, Elizabeth tried that and it fucked her because he was going for all fives.
Yeah, but the fours look just as hard as the sixes to me. I don't know about you guys, but the fours look just as hard as the sixes. So if I'm going to guess at a six.
I thought everybody was going for the high points. Maybe I need to watch it back, but you know, there is strategy with going to lower points earlier in the competition, thinking, you know, everybody's going to get the hard ones wrong. But I felt like a lot of people went for the super hard questions to start out, and then everybody just tried to keep up at that point.
I think somebody started with a 5, but then it was like 4, 4. I don't think anybody went for a 6 for a while except for Elizabeth, and nobody even touched the 6s for a while.
Oh, were there 6s? Yeah,
there were no 6. There was just 5s.
Oh, 5 was the highest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Man, that must have been so high. I didn't
That guy was imagining 6s during this competition.
I was like, why aren't it's like Jeopardy? You got to clear the hardest category, dude. So why aren't they doing it? Never mind. Yeah, I thought everybody played well. I mean, the questions were freaking hard. If you weren't like old like me and watched pro wrestling your whole life, you probably don't know a lot of this stuff. I remember Taz's debut. It was my senior year of high school. So yes, I can place that. But you know, most people, these young whippersnappers probably can't. So the questions were tough, man.
How old are you again?
I graduated in 2000, bro.
Bro, you're only 5 years older than me. It's not that difficult. To be fair though, like in your 30s is a hell of a lot older than all them playing that game. So
right, I'll speak for the young whippersnappers. We don't know that shit, okay? I never watched a soap opera before in my life. I would have never got that shit.
I don't think anybody really knew the soap operas. Q just got lucky in that 5-point question.
I love the reality show category too.
True. Oh,
you had to put the question in there about James winning the first HOH, though. So I can't stand James.
And that was the winning question.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go ahead and get into this conversation of the season. I'm going to start with Jake really kind of fucking up here. He's been doing good in conversations, but he just brought up Elizabeth like this in that conversation, starts giving up information about how she's next, which then leads to Meg talking about Elizabeth coming after her, which leads to Q getting information that's just pretty valuable for her thought process on Meg and Jake. Aspen, what were your thoughts on that?
This is exactly why Meg and Jake both went down in my book. It was a crucial mistake. It was a crucial mistake. I don't know. I don't know why everybody is so obsessed with Jake, including you, Days, with that jawline. I don't know what you think is sexy about that, but let me tell you, it's not sexy, okay? It's not. Yeah, I don't know. They just blabbermouth. Just can't shut up, you know? Just man, I just wanted to like wring Jake's neck, you know? And then again, I'm like, you know what? Well, just give it up then. Just diarrhea of the mouth of everything that's wrong with y'all. So great job, guys.
I will say, Fan Guy, they don't know that Q's thinking on the same wavelength as Elizabeth, but Jake was still pretty giddy about giving up that information, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And the camera zooming in on her smile whenever he says it. I mean, that's just, I mean, how priceless is that? How priceless is that moment where it's just like, and then Q realizes like light bulb and you just see it, bing, somebody out there is 100% on the same page as me. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jake was talking out of hubris a little bit. Like, you know, the cleaners have been kind of untouchable. And I think he just kind of, you know, had his big swinging dick, if you will, And he was just like, I can tell people whatever I want because what are they going to do? That D1, we'll call it that D1, where he's just like, I can tell people whatever because what are they going to do about it? I'm a cleaner. And so he assumes that everybody's like on board with the cleaners for some reason, but like, yeah, you're talking.
I will say, I think it was Alex who brought it up in the chat who was saying that they're just used to talking to Megs and Mavi. They're talking to the cleaners all the time, so that could be why it is.
I think after the past couple episodes, I'm starting to get the feeling that his goal is to make sure that Meg always stays the bigger target than him. And there were some little things, and I think that's kind of why he, said a little bit about that. But even at the end of the episode, he was still kind of, talking shit about Meg a little bit as humorous. And I think that's his plan. Like, as long as she's still in the game, she's always the target before him. And he has the ability to talk to people and just because he's just a nice guy. And he's beautiful, and you want to talk to him. But I do think that might be part of his strategy. We haven't really heard him say it yet, but keep the meat shield in front of you, and they are sure to go before you do. She doesn't have that power anymore to keep her safe. So
also in this, Dot's trying to, be cool with Alex again, but Q isn't having it. So, Van Guy, what were your thoughts on Q making sure Alex sees that Dot might be a little fake with him?
Q wasn't having a lot this episode. And this is one of the things that she was indeed not having. Any chance of those two reconciling, I won't say it's gone, but she definitely tried to force as big a wedge in there as she could, coming right at it. Oh, Dot, why didn't you protect Alex the way Meg protected Rayleigh? Oh, well, why not, Dot? Why not, Dot? Why not, Dot? And like, you could tell he was just so uncomfortable. He didn't know what to say. And he's just like, okay, Alex, so here's the deal. We split teams. And so, so yeah, no. It was, beautifully played by Q. And it made Dot just look definitely like he wasn't prepared for that moment at all. But who could be? Who could know that Q was just going to come in breathing fire like that? So I think it took them all off guard a little, and it just, wow.
I don't think it hurt him, though.
Did you still think his social game is fine after that?
Dots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think, like, he's just a super nice guy. He's funny, and I don't think that Q coming after him like that really hurt him too much. I think putting him on the spot now is, like, that's the way you attack that nice persona type gameplay. You have to put them on the spot and try to trip them up. But I think he maneuvered well. I think he's still not the biggest target in the game, so he's gonna do fine right now.
That's been you seem to disagree.
He not the biggest target in the game, but do you really think Alex is gonna work with him again after that shit? No way. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. It's so sick because she reminds me of Sandra. She just got in there and stirred that
Sandra.
pot. Yes, I'm telling you, like, she did exactly what she executed. That Alex is not going to want to work with Dot. I don't care what you say. That hurt his game, and so
Alex is crafty though.
I think Alex will work with anyone he has to.
Yeah.
I don't know. He knows that was kind of shady, is all I'm saying. It got brought to the light, and maybe he wouldn't have thought about it like that before. He probably would have just been, oh, yeah, I'll work with you again, whatever, had it not came up. But now that it's open and out there, it's like, oh, well, you did say that. So that's the second person he done that to on his team, including Elizabeth. So it's starting to look like a pattern that he just is like, basically, yeah, fuck y'all, I'm with the cleaners. He want a cleaner shirt is what I hear.
I would say this. I think he would still work with him, but I'm not sure that he would give him a vote in the end because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would work with him. I just don't know if he would trust him. Sometimes you can work with people you don't even necessarily trust out of necessity. I think Alex might work with Dot, but I don't think he would trust him. Like, he would know exactly what Aspen is saying. Like, this dude, look at his track record. I can't trust this guy. So yeah, no, that's. I mean, I agree with Aspen 100%. Q did exactly the perfect thing because she attacked Dot is more of what anything else. It was just like, yo, this guy can't be trusted. Everybody likes him, and guess what? He's gonna screw y'all one person at a time.
And I like that. I felt bad for him. Like he looked like he literally just got caught like shit, and I don't know. I felt bad for him. Like I'm over here like, no, no, just back out. Don't say nothing. Turn the camera off. Act like it. Like unplug the
Carry with
internet.
the K, his camera just goes out.
Yes. Pull a carry and throw the phone down. Like give it up. Like. Whew. Sorry, Dot. That was brutal, bro.
Now you say Sandra, but I actually think it's shades of Natalie in San Juan del Sur, who loses Jeremy, her biggest ally, and Q loses Carrie with the K, and then Natalie has to go into fuck Billings mode. Let's just be a little savage. So Q also puts a target on Meg and Jake here for this round and says that if they make the end, she's going to vote for them to win. Do you think that was effective, Aspen?
Absolutely. I don't know if it's something I would have done, but you're right. And I love Natalie. 100%. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just like where Q is trying to go with what she's doing. I just like it. So yeah. I think it was effective.
I have a theory on the Cleaners, Fan Guy and Days. They just were not expecting this as a merge, not just because they have the numbers and they're feeling fine, but also in the pre-merge, they just always had control. There was never any pushback. And most importantly, they've only been to one tribal council, so they're really not even used to this, because the one with Sammy doesn't really count because that was an easy tribal. So Days or Fan Guy, do you think they were just totally caught out guard to have any sort of pushback in the merge?
Inexperience, yeah, I can see that.
Fan Guy, any thoughts on making?
Yeah, I mean, it's back to the D1 I was talking about a little while ago. Whenever everything's going your way, you don't, and to be quite blunt, if Q hadn't pushed back, they quite probably would have just run everyone over if no one else could get an organized resistance. So yeah, I mean it's easy to feel that way when you're running the show. You got the numbers, nobody can touch us, la da da la da da. And feeling like they had Dot, it's literally they had half the numbers. So it would take every single other person to go the other way. And when you're exiling one of the other side, you got to feel pretty freaking good. So, I mean, they shouldn't do that because, as you can see, we just never know who has powers and whatnot. But I don't fault them for it because it's a trap I think anyone could fall into. And the Cleaners kind of have that bravado sort of thing already. They've had this bravado all season, so it shouldn't surprise anyone.
True. What are your thoughts on Patty sending Alex to exile, Days?
I think it's good for him because I do think Patty and Alex still have somewhat of a connection that they can use going down the road. So, I mean, not too many thoughts on it. I would like to see those two work together going forward. So,
Aspen or Fan, got any thoughts on Alex being the choice?
I'm glad he looked at it like he did. Alex was more looking at it like, yeah, he paying me back because I just did that, so he looking out for me. So I'm glad that Alex looking at it like that. I think that's where Patty was coming from too. I don't think he was trying to be malicious. So yeah, I think it was a good move on Patty and Alex's little chemistry part, because I feel like that would salute maybe some kind of alliance with them. Hopefully, I'd like to see them work together.
So I'm going to speak for Mike because he's not here and say in the grander optimal picture of the game, it probably would have been more optimal to send out a member of the other side, because then you can assume that your 5 will go up against their 4 and have them outnumbered. So if you can assume that your side will band together as 5, And I agree. The true strategic move, if you are confident you can rally your 5 together, is to pull one of the other ones out. However, I think Alex knows that's not all kumbaya with those 5 necessarily. So for his personal gain, yeah, he read it right. He's like, okay, this dude's saving me, and I hope these guys are a power duo. I love both of them individually. I want them to come up with a couple name and like go to town. This is the team. These are the guys I'm riding with. I finally picked my team, and it's Team Palix, but we're working on the name.
It's really starting to become like an underdog story from the beginning, because I think all of us were kind of counting Patty and Alex out together, and they're slowly working their way through this game and could, end up being the final 2, which I wouldn't be against.
I love it. I would love it.
Before we get to some of this other stuff, I want to touch upon Elizabeth for a second. Days, you had her up. I do feel like we need to put some respect on her name on this podcast sometimes. But Days, it really wasn't her doing that. She kind of fell out of the not being a target. It was more Q putting a target on herself. But there's these parallels between Elizabeth and Q, and Elizabeth is playing a very strategic, under the radar game.
Yeah. So our last podcast, I kind of hinted about, Elizabeth stewing and being heated after the vote didn't go her way, and I thought that anger was going to show its face and she was going to be reckless, but she didn't do that. And I think that's why I bumped her up, because she has kind of moved her way to the back and just letting things happen. And again, she is really intelligent, the way she thinks about this game. So yeah, put some respect on her name. Just kind of sit back and let this feud take its course, and she could be another one that goes pretty far in the game.
Vanguard, Aspen, any thoughts on Elizabeth going into this merge?
Yeah, honestly, y'all right. We need to put some respect on her name. Elizabeth, man, she is way more strategic. I knew she was smart and like not even book smart, because she didn't do that great in trivia. But she is super strategic. She has watched Survivor, and I could tell because I know a Survivor fan when I see it. And yeah, she just onto something. So how she like sat back and like how things worked out for her, I like that. And I feel like we were saying she was going to get lost in the background, but I think that she is playing that middle ground very well right now.
I still don't think she's out of the woods, but I agree with these two completely. She definitely underrated for me. I can say I underrated her. She's clearly her head's in the game, though I still don't think she's in the best spot necessarily, because I still think from the cleaner side, the targets are on her and Q. So, for instance, if either one of them wins an immunity or something, the other one is going to be de facto the target. And so I actually do worry a little bit more than these two about Elizabeth, because I feel like Q seems to be, her head's in challenges pretty good. And if Q wins an immunity, I do think the numbers are going to be with the cleaners to be able to pick off Elizabeth. And I do think that's what they would do, because she's the other vocal opponent.
Another person I want to touch upon, Fan Guy, is someone who somehow always figures it out socially, that being Dee Dee. She is in a sandwich between Patty and Q, and she is not a target because they're bigger out there than she is. So, Fan Guy, thoughts on Dee Dee returning from exile?
She's in a great spot, man, right? Like, she even voted for Elizabeth, and that vote will never hit the light of day. So now she even has Elizabeth's Elizabeth has no idea that she voted against her. And so she's way under the radar, but she's slick. Like, she just gets along with everybody. She's really likable. She adapts to different people's personalities pretty well, which I think is sort of like a social chameleon. She's always herself, but she understands how to deal with different types of people, and she's showing that off really well. So I think she is not being vocally outspoken against the cleaners, so I don't think they have any reason to target her. So I think she's in a great spot because she can just completely lay low. All of the gunfire is going to go over her head. I think Dee has a cakewalk to the final 5, like easily, like just a cakewalk, because all of the shots are going to be fired over her head.
And Days, she also has an idol now. So what do you think Dee needs to do going forward?
It keeps coming back to her. What does Dee do? Does she even know how to play this game? And I'm starting to wonder if the way to win these types of games is to just go along for the ride. But you're right, she does. And I completely forgot about her going to exile because I was like, well, Patty and all them know to hit the 0 now. But she was on it, used the idol in the most opportune moment. And like Fan Guy said, she could be there at the end very easily.
Aspen, although maybe she doesn't quite get Survivor strategically, socially in these games, she's a good social player. Aspen, what are your thoughts on Dee?
Yeah, I mean, she a likable person. Like Fan Guy said, I think honestly it speaks to how much she is chilling right now in the game. She literally was like laying down in bed at Tribal, like literally chilling. So yeah, I think it was pretty crazy. But I mean, weirdly enough, she just is doing what I guess maybe her isolation game, and like it's kind of working out. So I think she just got to keep doing what she's doing, and she probably honestly won't even have to use that idol. So
I will say it is kind of similar to her isolation game that she had an alliance with 2 different people. Now she has Dee and Patty, and she's in the middle, and it works for her. Well, speaking of Patty Days, Patty is out of his shell this week, and he is ready to stir shit up. Pot stirring Patty was out. What are your thoughts on Patty this week?
I am solid team Patty to the end. I love everything about him. He just doesn't give a shit about anything, and he's just being his eccentric self. So, but the dude thinks about strategy. Like he's strategic. So I love him. I'm like I said, team Patty. Hope he goes far. I wouldn't mind to see him win. So yeah.
Aspen.
yeah, I'm kind of with Days. Like, fuck it, I'm on team Patty now. Like, oh no, he's savage, like he different. So I like where he going. I like how he was like, yeah, a certain somebody, I ain't gonna call no names, but she a female and her name is Meg. And I'm like, yeah, Patty, you be secretive about that. Yeah, he started that shit up, and I didn't expect it because I thought that I really didn't think he was gonna like want to work with Q, but like they minds was like so on point. It was weird. I don't know. It was so weird. Patty about to coast to the final 2. He about to fuck this shit up.
Well, Fan Guy, you said Elizabeth and Q are targets, but do you think Patty might be a target now too, being out there like that? Because he said, remember that shit to the cleaners.
I met Patty while backpacking through the northern wildlands near the mountain of Kilimanjaro. And we came across a few Tibetan monks. And no, Patty, how can you not love this dude? No, he's not a target. Patty's like the least threatening person because everyone's just like, kind of like with people like that, you're just kind of like, he's just kind of a joke, but he's not. But he's like, it's just, he's harmless. It's like harmless Patty, but he's not harmless. Like he's causing a lot of friction and waves, but he's just that dude. And yes, I'm glad everyone is Team Patty. It's my people. I've been saying it from the beginning. He's just that dude. And I would love to see him and Alex get together. And no, I don't think the targets are on them at all. I think everybody's looking at Meg and Jake and Q and Elizabeth. Those are the 4 primary targets right now on everybody's mind. And I think everyone else is pretty much chilling for
Yeah, he's and a couple others are kind of the archers behind the charge, like just dropping arrows in the middle of the battlefield while the fight rages on.
Yeah.
But Patty's sneaky enough. I could see him going to both sides as the numbers dwindle to make sure the numbers stay even. Patty's like, oh, this week I'm with the cleaners to make sure that, and then this week I'm with the resistance. Patty just like, he's a world traveler, baby. World traveler, Himalayan Patty. Let's go.
So there's all this pushback from Q, especially, and then Elizabeth and Patty as well, even though Elizabeth, I guess, more under the radar than those two. What are your thoughts? Do you think the cleaners did a good enough job rallying the numbers, or do you think they were just content having their 5 fan guy?
No, I think they were definitely content having their 5. I feel like felt like they were in a good spot, especially knowing that one on the other side was going to exile. They had to feel good. It looks like they weren't thinking enough about other people having powers, maybe, because there didn't seem to be that much conversation about it. Like, oh, what happens if the other side disrupts our vote somehow? So it looks like they were a little ill-prepared. And yeah, I think it was 100% overconfidence on their part. They're just, I'm telling you, until you take the first punch on the jaw, you feel invincible. And that's what the cleaners, they've skated every single, they've lost nobody up till this episode. So they just kind of skated by. When you ain't been hit, everybody's got to play until they get hit. And the cleaners ain't been hit yet. So, they haven't had to feel any of that pressure or resistance. I think they will now.
So, any other thoughts of the leading up to Tribal? Anybody see anything else they want to talk about during these many conversations that were had?
Something that stuck out to me just was the ability to persuade others to go a certain way, and that was Patty and Q. And just, I want to see Q do more of that instead of kind of just throwing in the towel. Like, her ability to get people to go a certain way is really good, and she should utilize that more. Like I said earlier, we counted Patty out, we counted Alex out, and she kind of has that same ability to persuade people like they do. So don't throw in the towel just yet. Actually play the game and get out there and try to win.
I don't think she really throwing in the towel, though. I think I think she wasn't really throwing in the towel. I think she just was stirring up the pot to, just make everybody else see basically what her and Elizabeth saw. And then I wanted to touch on what Fan Guy said. You said that the cleaners, well, didn't Meg have a conversation with Jake about how she was gonna play her? She already felt like it was going to be her, so she was going to play her safety and leave.
Yeah. Jake didn't want her to, but...
Jake was smart for not wanting her to. Jake knew that was his ass, and it should have been.
Yeah, that was supposed to be Jake. Yeah, for sure.
Fanga, any other thoughts on the conversations leading up to Tribal?
I'll just piggyback on more of that. Q was masterful in navigating the way she wanted to paint the target. I do think there's an argument to be made that she made herself a bigger target, obviously, by doing that. That there is an argument to be made to say that she could have skated by under the radar a little easier had she not been such a vocal proponent. But you could also say, had that occurred, the cleaners could have just picked her off as one of the next, however many in a row.
I feel like she was like, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself in regards to getting the cleaners out.
Yeah, and let's be real. You look at reality show history, and you even have people who are like, I don't want to win the first head of household or the first immunity type situations because you don't want to draw lines in the sand super early. But I feel like it's a very calculated move by Q. She sees the numbers for what they are. She's very intelligent, and she is doing what she has to do to give herself and any non-cleaner player a chance, realistically. And she's almost fallen on the grenade to do that because to make herself the leader of the resistance, she's going to have to win a lot of competitions and idols and stuff to have any sort of chance to go super deep.
She's gonna have to win every single one of them. You know how this goes from here on out. She has to win every single one of them.
Well, Patty and Alex thought they could get, and even Days thought they could get Rayleigh on their side, but that was not the case here. So leading to Tribal, Do you think that Patty did a good enough job trying to get that payback from Rayleigh Days?
Trying to get. I don't know what to say about all that because that whole argument in the tribal just kind of fucked everything up. I think so. I mean, wait, which way did he vote?
Patty voted for Rayleigh.
Yeah, Patty was like, you got to pay me back for that one thing.
This was before. This was before Meg left. He was implying that he wanted Rayleigh to vote for Meg. He's like, you know what you got to do. You got to pay. Make good on me saving you. Vote out Meg. I'm not gonna say any names. Meg.
No words really for any of it. I'm so confused with how that whole tribal went down.
Any thoughts on tribal, fan guy, from the argument?
I mean, I love it. I love
Patty going crazy.
I loved it. I loved every second of it. How can you not? Yeah, I think you're seeing Patty's wheels go though. He's shown the ability at several tribals now to not say too much. He tries to be calculated, and I think he was trying to be calculated there. I don't think his intent was to say Meg, but he wanted to, when he realized that Rayleigh might not understand his code, he's like, fuck it. Rayleigh might not understand my little implied message, so let's just ball up and just say it. I legitimately think that's what happened there, was he was like, and the person's just, and you're like, and they're just, so he's like, Meg, but he's still not as big a target as Q, I don't think. Obviously, the vote showed that. So I think he put himself on their radar, but he was already on their radar. He was already on the other side, and I still think he falls in safely behind Q and Elizabeth on their targets. So I think Patty's in a great spot, actually. He just keeps showing off his tattoo and being worldly, Himalayan Patty. I mean, the dude's got it. Dude's got it all.
Aspen, what stood out to you at this crazy tribal council?
Sorry. Oh, man. Honestly, obviously, the Q and Rayleigh fight was the masterpiece. Honestly, I lived for it. I like Rayleigh being like, what the fuck are you trying to say? No, what? I didn't spill no tea. And I just was like, I guess technically she didn't spill tea, but I mean, kind of she spilled tea.
She definitely put a bigger target on Jake, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like she just got called out, and yeah, it did not go well. It did not go well at all. And then Patty, here comes Patty swooping in to the rescue, like, and me too.
Trying.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I feel like I don't know how I would have handled it, honestly. I probably would have froze. Yeah.
I feel like Jake kind of played off getting called out a couple times really well. Okay, he didn't take that bait at all. Just kind of slipped back again. Yeah.
I mean, he did. He said something to Patty. He's like, "Yo, I'm just sitting here." Like,
right. Like, I like your hat, bro.
Any other thoughts on tribal, Vanguy or Days or Aspen?
Hope can we see a couple more of those? I hope it happens.
Yeah, tribal was like
wild.
Yeah, live.
Even the way the votes turned out when you looked at how the voting went, even that was like.
I think Rayleigh shot herself in the foot there for sure.
The
problem was she got too defensive because when any of us talk, including me.
Do you think she would have not got voted for had they not argued though?
I don't think so. I think it would have been Jake.
Really?
Yeah.
When you start calling people a motherfucker, it rubs them the wrong way sometimes. You might catch a vote or two that night.
True. Yeah, she maybe had one too many cigarettes. I don't know. It was tough. It was tough to watch.
Let's get down to this debate. So Meg uses her leave She gets to leave the tribal council. I mean, it's best for her. I think so. Jake ain't happy about it because, I mean, it puts his ass on the line, fan guy. But do you think it was best of her to use that? Or do you think they could have figured something else out?
I mean, I think had they thought it out more, for sure, they could have had a split vote sort of contingency plan in play, knowing that one of the other side was out, and that they had to switch a vote as well. So then you actually have like 6-3 or something. So if the vote's 6-3, you can easily find a way to, split it some way. But so, yeah, I think they could have come up with a plan, but because they didn't come up with a plan, I absolutely think Meg did the right thing because her name was being thrown out directly by hella people. And she realized in time that, if they have, even if I have the numbers, if they have a power, I'm donezo. So she did realize that in time. And sorry, guys, y'all still have the numbers. She gave Jake the switch of vote power to use. So she still showed her loyalty to her side. She basically said, here's my other power. Use it so you guys still have the numbers, but I'm safe. So I think Meg played it actually really, really good from her personal game point. I think she played it great.
I do think she definitely needed to use the first power, but the second power, we'll get into that in a second. I think that was a total bad move. But Aspen, do you think her leaving tribal was necessary?
Absolutely. I'm going to say it. I've been saying it all day. Fuck Jake. Fuck that. Bro, you leave him out there to like be a fish. I don't know, man. Like I just didn't like how he's like, I know, but what about me? But he didn't even try to come up with any alternative.
He did though. He wanted to vote for Elizabeth, which would have been the right thing to do.
Did he? I guess. But if he would have voted for Elizabeth, then who else would have voted for Elizabeth? What, he would have changed Dee's vote to Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think they should have split the votes and not change Dee Dee's vote. Fuck, I don't even know. I mean,
how?
I think you have to use the power to keep the numbers once Meg leaves.
Yeah, because it just would have been Jake, Hassan, Dot.
Who all was going to vote for Meg?
4 people.
4 people were? So Q, Patty.
Patty, and Elizabeth. So the cleaners and Dot all needed to vote for somebody that wasn't Q, basically. If they thought Q had a card, then they should not have voted for Q.
Which they did.
Yeah, they thought she did. So they should have just went the Elizabeth route, I think.
Which is what Jake wanted to do, but by that point, it was getting too late in the night to do something.
So it's Jake's fault.
It's Jake's fault, but
I think it comes down to Meg really felt like she was in a lot of trouble, and it was no longer Meg and the Mafia, it was just Meg at that point. So she did kind of leave. I think she did kind of leave the rest of the crew out on a line. So
no, she tried to save face. That's why she used the second power. She's like, all right, here, I'll give you this one, just because she's trying to save her face and be like, I know I'm leaving to save myself, but
this is the same as if I was here. It's the same as if it was.
It's true. I get what she was trying to do socially, and I get playing the leave because you don't want to go home with safety in your pocket.
Right.
But I will say, with the secret switch vote, no, that was totally played completely wrong. First of all, I just have to say this going forward to anybody who plays this game. If you're listening right now, if there's ever a secret switch vote advantage, it's called secret switch vote for a reason, because that is how you can use it optimally, if Mike was here to say. Because in the first season, Days told people about it and didn't use it right. Rochelle told people about it.
Mine didn't count. Like when I had to use mine, we all knew Mike was going home, so I played it just to piss Mike off. And
so that was a different power. You had it earlier in the game. You got it when you first got into the game. And you tried to use it. I mean, I get what you were trying to do, to use it like a leverage with Mike when you first got on the team. Yeah. You told him about it. And Rochelle told people about it, and that fat guy told everybody Rochelle.
My first one, I didn't tell them exactly how it was used. I manipulated.
You did, but I'm just saying when you used it, it just didn't matter, is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. I mean, when Rochelle used it, it did matter because she didn't go home. Infinity went home. But at this point, with Meg just giving it away to Jake to use it to vote for Q, who they think has a card, doesn't make any sense to me.
It's not my favorite power.
I mean, I just think you have to use it
power.
optimally because it is a great power.
You gotta use it.
Great power. Stop saying it's a terrible power.
It's a
great
secret.
power.
It's a secret. If you keep it a secret, it could do so much damage. You could mess with people's minds if they don't know about it.
It didn't hurt me, and I didn't gain anything from it.
I know
So
because you didn't use it optimally, so you didn't get anything.
whatever.
And neither did Meg in this situation, I don't think.
Had they thought it out, she wouldn't have had to use it. I agree. I mean, I see why she used it, though. She used it just to exactly what Aspen and you said, Nick, just to save face. Like, hey, look, I'm still a cleaner. I'm saving my ass, but here's my other power. It's the same as if I was here. Now DD's me. So
I will say they could have still used it to at least mess with people's minds, but unfortunately, Jake used it on Dee Dee, who voted for Elizabeth, and no votes popped up for Elizabeth, so Dee Dee's gonna know her vote was fucked with. So it
There's
doesn't
still
really.
a switch of vote out there, right? Doesn't Dot have a switch of
Yeah,
vote?
but his isn't secret. His is just you have to say it publicly.
Oh, okay.
Lastly, Q uses her idol, and Riley goes home. Thoughts on that, Aspen?
Hats off to the queen. It is very, very rare in Survivor that happens. It's very rare that you do that so perfectly and that you get the person that you want to go home. Because if she just would have voted for, had her and Patty not been like spiritually connected so weirdly because of the essential oils that he be smoking on and shit, like, man, it just worked perfect. It was like a match made in heaven. It's like, oh my god, oh, I'm in
I
love.
will say, after Meg lost, after Meg left, there was a possibility of that vote just being totally random because, yeah, Patty's vote was a surprise to me too, to be honest. Fanga, any thoughts on Rayleigh going?
I mean, I was surprised it was really, to be honest. I was thinking when I saw the Jake vote pop up, I was like, okay, it's Jake. Honestly, I do think Q and Patty and that whole side would be okay, whether it was Jake or Rayleigh, to be honest. I don't think that made a bit of a difference.
I mean, I kind of think it might actually keep more targets in the game because Jake and Meg, even if they're not agreeing right now, still could be a target together.
Yeah, 100%. They definitely, yeah. But on that same note, you could have said they could have got rid of the stronger game player right there. So I think that one could go either way. But I mean, Q had to play the power. So I mean, agree with Aspen 100%. You don't always get those right. I think Q knew she had shaken shit up enough to where it was a pretty safe bet she was gonna get some fire. So she pulled the trigger perfectly. Yeah, don't know how it ended up on Rayleigh in particular, outside of the stat they had at Tribal, which I don't know if that was like.
That's what it was, 100%.
Was there more of that we didn't see?
I mean, only a little bit. The problem was just Rayleigh, I think she got too mad and got too defensive, so she wouldn't let Q talk, wouldn't let Patty talk, wouldn't let me talk, which is why I took them both out of the chat so I could say what I needed to say. But
I know that feeling.
It's surprising. I mean, it's surprising that Rayleigh went, I thought. But because I would have thought they would have targeted Jake. But other than that, I felt everyone played. I felt Meg playing hers power was good. Q playing her power was good. I feel like everyone had a good read on the situation. And, the cards fell how they fell.
Days, any last thoughts on Rayleigh going?
I think the battle was won, but the war still rages on. It's going to be an interesting next couple episodes, even if it's not drama filled. The strategy at this point means so much on how you play certain things. So
what we're going to talk about again as we end this episode. I'm going to go through the last 9 people, and you're going to say what you think they need to do. Fanguy, we'll start with you, and we'll start with Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, just keep letting Q be the bigger target for now from your resistance to the cleaner side. Just keep the bigger target on Q.
Dazed.
Don't let Q win a competition.
I think Elizabeth is essentially a swing vote now, and I think that's a good position to be. Just let the targets keep being on, Meg, Jake, Q, and she has a path to the end.
Aspen, thoughts on Elizabeth?
I don't know if she knows swing vote, but for sure, all she got to do is just kind of ride it out and let everybody else fight it out. But Meg ain't gonna forget she tried to come for her. Meg and Jake are not gonna let that shit go. Trust me. They gonna remember it, and as soon as they get out, probably Q. Sad to say it, but Elizabeth, she probably will be next. But yeah.
Aspen, what do you think? You and Fanguy disagree on this person right now. What do you think Dot needs to do going into this next round?
Oh man, Dot need to honestly, he need to figure out how to play his advantage right. I mean, I guess he still is like okay because he still is kind of with the cleaners. Maybe he taking Rayleigh's spot now, but even Meg said it, like Dot does not take precedence over Hassan, which we kind of were back and forth about last week. But yeah, I think he just number 4 in that alliance pretty much, and maybe him and Jake are closer, but I don't know. He need to work on his relationship with Jake and probably trying to rekindle something with Alex, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I will say Meg said in the chat that Dot was the third person. I think at this point he wasn't, but I think going forward he is. I think going into the merge, she was very much still team cleaners. But now with this whole shakeup, I do think her and Dot will be closer to Fanguy. What do you think Dot needs to do?
Dot needs to actually kindle relationships with people on the other side that are towards the bottom. He needs to try to get back in with Elizabeth. He needs to try to get back in with Alex, maybe with Patty. He just needs to start creating bonds with people who aren't the top targets, because when you get in a situation where the top targets either have immunity or are all gone, you don't want to be next on the list. So you want to have allies in the game. So Dot's closest allies right now are 2 of the biggest targets in the game, which is great for him, I think. But ultimately, if they go, he's soon to follow. So I think he needs to start cultivating relationships with other people.
Dazed.
So we've made the merge, and I think this is the time that you start adding, you start making big moves. I think he needs to be cutthroat and turn on the cleaners, possibly be the deciding vote that takes Meg or Jake out so that he can add that to his resume. Yeah. So yeah, I think now that you made the merge, time to build your resume, make that big move, get cutthroat, and take Meg or Jake out.
Days. Patty was a pot stirrer in this episode. What does he have to do in this next round?
Just keep being Patty. How he's able to just straight out call somebody's name in the middle of a tribal and it, not really hurt him that much. He's got some swag. Just keep being yourself. I mean, I think he's playing great right now.
Aspen, thoughts on Patty?
Yeah, like Fanguy said, Patty is the player from the Himalayas, man. He just too fly, He just gotta keep doing his thing. Honestly, keep stirring that pot. I love it. Keep cooking that shit up. I don't know, Patty. He gonna go far with that Kango hat. I see it.
He called 2 people out, Dazed. 2, not 1. He called 2 people out at Tribal and got away with it. So I just echo more of that. Like, how hardcore is that? You just called somebody a rooster and a hen and basically said, he's just following her. And that comment just, I'm sure it's going to have repercussions, but in the immediate present, it didn't. They still just like, whoop. Eyes are on Q and Meg still anyway. And Patty's like, yo, all right. Keep sleeping on Patty.
Fanguy, Alex was in exile. He missed all of this chaos, which can be good and bad. What do you think he needs to do? And He said himself in this episode he doesn't have any allies at the moment other than maybe Patty. So who else do you think he needs to talk with?
Alex is in the exact same kind of spot Patty's in, which is in a great spot, actually. Almost in a better spot because I still think Alex is a better competitor than Patty. I love you, Patty. But I still think Alex is going to be more well-rounded in these comps. So I think Alex is potentially in the best spot in the whole game because he missed the whole firefight. So his name didn't even have a chance to come up in all this BS.
Did come up, actually.
Did it?
Yes, Q at Tribal Council brought him up saying that she was after him.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he's still on people's radar. That's what happens when you're a competitor. But ultimately, I think him just not having to participate in this shit show of a volcano of a thing was good for him. I think he's going to come back in more under the radar than he was before. And if he can continue just to stealthily kind of ride the wave, combine that with some competition wins, which we know he can do, I think he's got a great shot.
Alex, yeah, he the one the kid. And honestly, I hope he come back in. You know what? He needs to align with Elizabeth. See if he can rekindle that relationship. Patty, like I said, I don't know about Dot, but for sure he needs to try to work something out with Q. Maybe they can vote together one more time at least. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. He, like Fan Guy said, he kind of on people's radar, but like not that much. I mean, Q still would use him as a vote because she's so desperate. She don't have no other choice. So,
Ace, what does Alex need to do?
I kind of like to see him after Q trying to sow discord between Dot and Alex. I think Alex can not necessarily work with Q, but get information from her and use it to paint Q as a bigger target, because I think his best play right now is to keep the big targets in the limelight and just kind of sit back. So I think his goal should be to get as much information from the people that are trying to separate him from his allies and use that against them.
It's been Dee is currently in a pretty good sandwich between Q and Patty. What does Dee need to do in this next round?
I think she just needs to, weirdly enough, just kind of keep doing that. You know, everybody else is just kind of outshining her right now, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of working for her. So I mean, like Fanguy said, what she guaranteed top 5 at least. You know, like make a move. You know, like I don't know what move she can make, but she need to make one.
What does Dee need to do? Does she need to make a move?
I keep going back and forth on what she should do every week, and I'm gonna go back again to just shut up, don't say anything, play your isolation game, and you're guaranteed to make it at least to the top 5, like Fanguy said.
I couldn't have said it better than they did. I mean, that's it. Like I snorted when Aspen said that because what I heard was like keep being oblivious to the strategic elements of this game. But it's true. Like just keep being oblivious to the strategic elements of this particular game. Keep playing your ISO game because it's great. Socially, you're killing it. So you don't need to be in tune with the strategic elements of this game because so many other people are, and they're trying to target each other. So I think she can just keep doing exactly.
She's gonna have to make a move at some point though for her resume, or otherwise she's just a goat. So,
well, another under the radar player so far, Days is Hassan. What does Hassan need to do going forward? I mean, the shots are getting taken to the cleaners, but it's not getting taken to Hassan.
Hassan's not playing this game. I think he's shown that in a lot of the chats that he's had. He's just not there. He's just there to be the nice guy and, you know, get along with everybody. He's not going to win this game. I don't know if there's anything that he can do other than making a big move, and I don't think he has it in him to do it because I don't think he's playing online survival right now. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Dazed here. Hassan's sleep, like he just he sleep, man. Like I don't know. It's just he's like, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to take everything in that everybody is saying. I'm like, take it in and do what? What are you gonna do with it? Like, I don't know. He just boring. Another one of those. Just like do something already, you know. But he just okay with being a goat, and unfortunately, he's not gonna get no votes because he ain't making no plays. He don't got nothing on that resume. So, good luck.
Yeah.
He's got a good path towards the middle end of the game, though. Same as the other side. I think he's got bigger targets on his side. So I definitely think his ability to coast is going to be there, but his ability to win this game might be the lowest of anybody currently in the game. He's never going to get the votes because, I mean, it's a vote-based game at the end. He's never going to have the votes over anybody else in this game right now. So, sorry, Hassan. I mean, I don't think he's as oblivious. Like, you could tell in his confessionals, he's, you know, he understands the strategy of the game and what's going on around him. But I think as my cohort said, he's content to just be a passenger along for the ride. And quite frankly, at this stage of the game, it might be his best play until he's ready to actually take the knife out and put it in Meg or Jake's back. Because that's the only thing he's going to be able to do that has any chance of salvaging his game with a jury.
Now, Q just fucked some shit up in this round, Van Guy. What does she need to do in the next round?
Win competitions. She has to win because she is on the wrong side of the numbers right now with the crosshair on her. So she has two options. One is to somehow make Elizabeth a bigger target. But really, I don't even know if that's possible because of the way it all went down and the way the pop-offs went. So I think 100% she needs to win immunity and do anything she can to get another cleaner out this week and unite that side together.
Van Guy, how do you think the numbers are? You said she's on the wrong side of the numbers.
I mean, well, on the other side, you have Meg, Jake, Hassan, and actually, no, I guess she's on the right side of the numbers now because now it's 5-4 because Rayleigh went. So, yeah, she just needs to not rub anybody on that side the wrong way, really, because I guess she has Alex, Patty, Dee Dee.
I mean, that's if everything stays the same. And we don't really know where Alex lies right now.
Yeah. I don't think that side's as solid as the cleaners. That's my thing. Like the cleaners, are a voting block. The cleaners / dot now. You feel like that's going to be a voting block of 4. And so you need to at least have the other 5 together or 4. But really, I think Q needs to win because I think she's on a lot of people's radars. I think even people on her side realize how far she stepped forward and that, if she gets to the end, she has a great resume. I would think. I mean, if people are thinking on that level. So I think Q's a huge target. I think the most important thing for her to win is to win right now. This week, she needs to win.
Period.
As the numbers dwindle, it's not going to be as important.
Is what does Q need to do in this next round?
So I'm the one on this panel that hasn't watched a lot of Survivor, so I need to use a different reference. Q is kind of my Rachel Riley, where she's going to be a comp beast. Season 12 called everybody out on their bullshit, but couldn't win the comps all the way through the game to get to the end. She has to do like she did in season 13, call everybody out, but win every single competition to get to the final. It's a tough road. Props to her if she can do it. That's one of the best resumes you can have to get all the votes. I just don't see it happening, but she definitely has to win going forward.
Aspen.
They said it. She got to win. Win. Period.
Next up is Meg, who just left Tribal Council. What does she need to do to get back on people's good sides in her own team? Dazed.
I think the target's just too big. I really do. I think Q has done such a good job as painting her as this tough competitor that cannot lose. I don't think her team doesn't matter at this point. Meg's Mafia, there's just not enough numbers there really if they don't win out to, keep the train rolling. So unfortunately, I love the game she's playing. I just don't think it's going to be there. She's probably going to be the next one or two to go.
Aspen, what does Meg need to do?
Yeah, I'm with Dave. It's too far gone. She basically revealed that Godfather, like she came out as the Godfather, and so like it ain't no going back from that, like we already know, we already bound down to you, like we can't not now. So pretty much everybody feels like, no matter who they are, feels like, look, if Meg and Jake stay in, I'm gonna be third place, because that's kind of the reality of the situation, and so Meg got a win, but I mean, other than that, I don't see it happening for her. I feel like she gonna have Jake and maybe Dot till the end, but other than that, it's a done deal. She gonna be next one out.
And guy Meg took that leadership role in Survivor, which is dangerous. Is there any going back for her at this point, or is there something she can do?
No, she needs to do exactly what Q needs to do. She needs to pull a Jameis Winston and eat them dubs, eat them W's, get all the sauce off, because that's what Meg's got to do to stay in this game. I mean, it's just a fact. Her and Q are in the exact same situation. Like, they both need to win. They both have to win. And when you put yourself out there like that, that's what you got to do. Maybe the game changes, because the game can change from vote to vote. But right now, Meg's in the same boat as Q. They both need to win.
Is there anything to say for painting yourself as an even bigger target, to where you let everybody you're the target, and if you take me out, you're next? You're the next biggest target.
I mean, I was just going to ask that, actually, if there's any sort of like Jeremy or Tony in Survivor where there's a meat shield. Although the meat shield would have to be Q and Meg. Is there any way they could work together, Dazed?
I want to be in the room when they have that conversation. I don't see it happening. I guess there's always a chance, but maybe that's the play. Team up together, and because both of them are really good competitors as far as the challenges go. So,
That actually would be the play if they do that.
Don't each of them put their backs against the wall, but put them together, and it happened, I guess.
Well, lastly is Dave's favorite player, Jake, who he says is Patty, but we all know it's Jake. What does Jake need to do? He's in the preview, he's a little, peeved with Meg leaving. What does he need to do? Is that just to put a target on Meg and not him, or is he actually upset?
I don't know. I don't know what's in his head right now. I think I said something earlier about maybe he's just trying to keep Meg as the bigger target, the meat shield, but hell if I know.
Aspen, what is your not so favorite player Jake need to do?
Honestly, man, it's sad, but Jake got to pull a W out too, because after Meg, he is gone. Jake with the jawline, Mr. D, he is not doing it. He ain't doing it. I'm telling you.
Where do you come up with these names?
Oh no, it's off the top. It's off the top, Nick.
That guy, any thoughts on what Jake needs to do?
Yeah, they said it, man. Jake just needs to win. I think he's doing the right thing by making Meg a bigger target than he is. That at least gives him some sense of self-preservation, so long as he's not doing it in a super direct way that's going to piss Meg off. Like, as long as he's subtle about it, which I think even though he's been not so subtle, he's been, mostly subtle about it. So I think as long as he just kind of subtly paints her as a bigger target, it's a good play for him. But I think he's in the same situation Elizabeth is from the other side. Whereas if Meg happens to win immunity, he's in a lot of trouble. Like a lot of trouble from the other side. I think him and Elizabeth are actually, as weird as it sounds, I think him and Elizabeth are the most danger in the near future.
Well, lastly, any predictions anyone would like to make?
Give us the heads up on the challenge first.
It's hard to explain. It's a bit trivia-like, but it's kind of like Big Brother when they have to go head-to-head with somebody, and the winner picks who goes next. But the trivia is
So just a knockout.
It's a
Just a
knockout,
knockout.
but about numbers.
About numbers?
Yes, every trivia is about a number between 1 and 9 is the answer. You have to write the
Okay.
answer and show it at the same time.
Wow, this is gonna show alliances then.
Why
Wow.
would you say that?
I don't think everybody's gonna play it hard. I think
Uh,
for Q and Meg and the cleaners, it's gonna show alliances. But I think a lot of if that other side's not organized about it, I think they could mess this up.
yeah, I've always thought that knockout competitions show whom you want to win or you don't want to win in that challenge. So if I had to choose somebody to win that, you know what? Let's go with Patty again. I'll ride this train. Let's go with Patty.
Fan guy says not this time.
Lightning ain't striking twice in a row, and although that Himalayan magic is real, I don't see Patty pulling this one out. I'm always gonna bet on the favorites because I'm a gambler. It's what I do, and I bet on the favorites. Favorite I think is gonna be Alex.
Aspen.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alex, but just to keep it different, I'm gonna say Meg because she needs it, and I think she might pull it out.
I feel like Q and Meg should have a hard time in this contest.
Yeah,
They should be basically having to answer every question if it unfolds how it seems to be.
So if Meg wins, they can't send a cleaner to. Oh, there's no more exile.
Yeah,
Okay.
exile's
yeah,
over.
done.
All right. Well, they
Any
would
last
potentially
predictions?
no, they wouldn't have the numbers. It's opposite now, isn't it?
I think the cleaners are in trouble, man. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I think it's 5 versus 4. That last vote was exactly what the other side needed to do. I think the cleaners are in big trouble.
Yeah, they cut that shit down right when they should have. So yeah, kudos to them for making that power play.
You think the cleaners can pull a number? Who's the best person to pull in, Alex?
I mean, they already got Dot, right? So maybe Alex, if Q doesn't succeed in separating those two like she plans on.
Patty and Alex, though, man, they seem to have a budding friendship. And if Patty's on the side against the cleaners, I can't see Alex. I don't think there's anybody who's not anti-cleaner.
Does Doss stick with the cleaners? And if he does, should he use an advantage? He has 2. I mean, it might be a good time to use it.
I think you should cut them.
Days thinks he should cut the cleaners.
Stab them in the back.
I want him to. I mean, since Dave's brought it up, yes, please do.
I don't think he can safely.
No.
If he does, he's just going to end up at the bottom of the bigger side of the other side. So I think he's got to, but I 100% agree with Nick. The key to the cleaners right now is figuring out how to utilize Dot's advantage to get the numbers back in your favor. 100%. That is their sole focus, but they don't even know. Dot hasn't told anyone he has powers. So if Dot's not thinking on the macro and he's still thinking about his micro game, then absolutely. I mean, they need it. That's their only chance to climb back in this, is guessing who the other side's targeting and blocking it with one of Dot's powers.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts or predictions?
Good episode. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was great. I wish Country Carey would have still been around.
It would have been even crazier probably if Carey was in the game. That's all I have for you all this week. I will see you all next week.
Deuces.